Hi guys, it's Nevada. Welcome back to my channel. So as you can see in the title down below, this is a how I contour video. Now I don't have blush, I don't have highlight or anything else going on just because I want you guys to see what the contour actually looks like. I basically showed you guys how to cream contour and powder contour, both of them on top for this just so you can see how I do it. I do want to say a quick disclaimer that I am by no means a certified makeup artist. I really just have been doing makeup on my own. I watch a lot of videos and I kind of pick and choose from techniques that I like, and that's how I do my makeup. The techniques that I tell you guys or the tips that I say are just things that I've experimented with like for years and I like them, so I feel like I just want to share them. The reason you put on makeup is basically to alter your face to do something you like. So I really don't think that there's a right and wrong way to do makeup. In fact, the wrong way is probably if the finished product is something that you don't like. It doesn't matter what other people say or what other people think. So for that reason, you definitely don't have to follow anything I'm saying or anything that anyone says, and you can definitely modify it and tweak it to fit what you want the end product to be. So I think that you should always experiment with your makeup and figure out what you like best and not just kind of blindly follow techniques. Basically, that whole spiel is saying that what I'm doing is not necessarily right, but it's not necessarily wrong either, and I feel like I'm gonna get comments being like, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But it is what I like to do, and I do like how it ends up, so I mean, I'm gonna continue doing it until I find like another way to contour or another way to do something. So I hope that these tips and techniques help you. I hope that you can either use them or modify them or learn from them. And if you end up liking this video and you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comments below. And other than that, let's just get right into it. Okay, so I have my foundation, eyes, and concealer on. If you guys want to see how I do my concealer specifically, let me know, but it is in basically all of my videos. It's the same thing. For contour, I basically use both cream contouring and powder contouring techniques. Sometimes I use both at the same time, sometimes I just use one or the other, but you definitely don't have to do both. So for cream contour, I use the Sacha Cream to Powder Foundation, which is obviously a foundation. I just got it in several shades darker, so this is the shade Perfect Copper. It also has a slight gray undertone to it, which I've said in all my other videos that I like a gray undertone when contouring because it gives kind of like a natural shadow to your face. There are so many techniques out there. When you're contouring your cheekbones, they always say don't bring it, farther than halfway down your cheek, and I don't fully agree with that just because I kind of like the way it looks. I even know people who kind of like bring their contour down and then curve upwards along their actual cheekbone to give more of like a rounded apple cheek type of look. It all looks good, so I really do think it's personal preference. If you like the way it looks, then that technique shouldn't be stopping you from doing it a certain way. So what I like to do is I take this little eyeshadow brush that I have. It's called the e.l.f. contour brush, so maybe it's not an eyeshadow brush. It has a very rounded top to it, so it's actually perfect for this. But basically I take it on my brush and I'm going to bring it down underneath my cheekbone. So to find your cheekbones, there are so many different ways to do it. A lot of people do the whole, you basically go near the top of your ear and line up your brush with the, end of your lips. And that is, a good way to do it. What other people do is you can kind of make like a duck face or sucking in your cheekbones, and that shadow right there is what you want to emphasize, so you can just trace that line, or you could just kind of pull your mouth to your side and you're still going to get that indentation, and then you can trace that line as well. If none of those techniques work for you, you could actually just kind of press on your cheek and you'll find where your cheekbone ends, and then you can draw your line right there. So that's another technique as well, and I actually like that one a lot. So for your forehead, again, some techniques that are just kind of to help you out is that if you have a slightly larger forehead, you can bring your contour a little bit more in and then also all around the top of your forehead, and that's just going to balance everything out. If your forehead is a little bit smaller, you kind of want to keep it at your temples and not really bring it much more inwards. For me, I don't necessarily bring it up to the top of my forehead, but I do kind of contour a little bit past my temples. I do kind of connect the dots, from my temples down to where the cheekbone contour is, just so that it looks more even and it forms that 3 shape that everyone talks about when contouring. So finally, I'm going to contour my jawline, which is basically just to define this little angle here. What works for me, again, try it out, is to basically go above where the actual jawline is. So if my jawline is actually over here, I'm going to go a little bit up. I wanted to say dorsal. God. Anyway, so if this is my jawline, I'm going to go a little bit up onto my actual face, on my cheek, and do it right there. Too much vet school. Too much vet school. This is obviously really emphasized. Like, I don't do this on a daily basis. I don't even contour this much when I do contour. This is just to show you guys my techniques. And then lastly, there is nose contouring, which is becoming a really big thing, and everyone's nose is so different. So for me, I kind of have a narrow bridge and then like it pudges out massively. So I know a lot of people contour all the way from their eyebrows and bring it down, which you can do. I'm not going to do it right now, but using the back of my brush, if you were going to do it that way, it's literally going to start from, not from your eyebrow itself, but from underneath the eyebrow, and you can see where the shadows fall. But basically from there, you're going to bring it down the side of your nose in a straight line. For me, I just like focusing it right at the very tip. So again, in just a straight line, basically on like the inner side of my nostril, following that line, I'm going to go up. Just some extra tips, you can put bronzer in between your cupid's bow and then also underneath your bottom lip to give you a little bit more of a pout. And for me, that's like really pushing it, but that's just another thing that you can do with bronzer. So for blending, I like to go in with a damp brush. So I use my trusted rose water, and I'm going to be using a stippling brush. It just really works the best to blend out the product. So I kind of generously spray my brush. I like to go in circular motions and just kind of direct it upwards, if that makes sense. For my forehead contour, I just kind of blend it down into the cheek contour line, and then I take that and extend it down into the jawline contour as well. So again, going along with that 3 shape that I mentioned before. For my nose, I found a paintbrush in my house, so I like to use this. It just happens to fit perfectly for that area. And when you're blending out your nose, not only do you want to go up and down, but you want to kind of drag it down towards the side. You don't want to go in towards the center of the nose. So from where the line is, it's okay to kind of pull it down to each side, but just not towards the center. Okay, so now that cream contour is done, you can end it here. I am going to go 2 steps further. First, I'm going to go in with my gray NYX eyeshadow, which is in every single one of my videos. It's this little guy over here, and it's in the shade Over the Taupe. The best thing that I like to use for this is my NARS Ita brush. This is super expensive, unnecessarily expensive, so anything that you find with kind of like a narrow rectangular shaped bristles like this is perfect. Also, what you can do is take any sort of, I don't know, brush you have, and you can just hold onto the bristles like that and use that. So when you're using this kind of brush, blend it out. The kind of movements that you're going to want to do is sideways, like back and forth like that, and also really quick up and down motions. Again, you can leave it at this step, or the third step is to go ahead and go over everything with bronzer. This just adds a bronzy glow to your face. It's going to help kind of blend out any harsh lines you may have, as long as you're not using too much product for this. and it kind of just pulls everything together. So I like to go in with a very light bronzer that I have. This is the Sephora matte bronzer in the shade Bora Bora, and I really don't use a lot of it. It's more of just using the brush to again blend everything out and make sure that nothing is too like stark on your skin. But that is pretty much my contour routine. This is what I like to do. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I like it. I hope that it helped either give you ideas or maybe help change things up a little bit. And yeah, that's basically it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.